If you want to level up your life and unlock the hottest, highest, and happiest version of yourself, this is the podcast for you. Welcome to today's episode of Hot and Unbothered. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to my podcast. If you are new here, my name's Brianna Gomez, and I am your host of Hot and Unbothered, the ultimate podcast for achieving your highest self, unlocking and reaching your dream life, visualizing the person you want to be, and getting there. And today, I'm going to teach you exactly how to do that. If you are fully committed to unlocking this ideal highest version of yourself, go ahead and hit the subscribe or follow button right now, because what are you waiting for? Lock in, commit to it, and join us in the journey for committing to being our highest selves. It is literally insane how fast the year is going by. First of all, 2024 is already almost over if you really think about it, which is crazy. The holiday season is already rolling around, which is also insane to think about. I feel like it was just summer, and before that it was just Christmas and the holiday season again. So the fact that we're about to be at the holiday time again is a little bit scary to think about, and it's going to be getting dark earlier and daylight savings time if where you live does that. And it's just crazy that it's going to be that time of year again. It really mind boggles me how quickly this year is going, which is also a reminder to really just live in the moment, be present where you are, because it's going by and it's going by quickly. Today, though, I'm going to be talking about seasonal depression. And I don't know, I know it's not just me. Maybe you guys can relate. Seasonal depression is so real, and it's not something that should be taken lightly. I feel like some people think it's just something that gets thrown around, just one of those terms that we use a lot, but it's so real, and it can be so painful and detrimental to your mental health. Seasonal depression is, in fact, something to be taken care of seriously, but at the same time, it is something that can be prevented or at least lessened just by doing certain things and implementing certain habits into your lifestyle. So if you are like me and you have struggled or do struggle with seasonal depression, this episode is for you, and I'm here to help. Don't worry. It was also highly requested after my last episode all about, ways to romanticize fall, hot girl's guide to fall, because how are we supposed to have our hot girl autumn and our cool girl winter if we're struggling with seasonal depression? They don't go hand in hand. They really do not. But before we dive into today's episode, you guys know I love to share a podcast review. Today we have one from Lexi. She said, "Bri, I'm 15 and I'm a sophomore in high school. I started listening to your pod in July, and all my friends said I've changed in a positive way, and I recommended your podcast for them. You've helped me mentally and emotionally and physically on daily things. I wouldn't be where I am without you, and I have changed so much. Your advice is realistic and actually works if you put in the effort. It's not fake. I'm super young, and you're making a huge impact on a 15-year-old. I love you." I don't know why I always just end up choosing younger girls, which is not true for which podcast reviews I chose, but it's just a pattern that I've actually done the past few episodes. But I think it's insane that there are young girls listening to me, and I want to be more mindful of what I say for you guys, because again, it's crazy to match like names and lifestyles and faces with usernames that I see on a screen in my podcast reviews or comments. So it's really cool to hear about your guys' lives and how the podcast has affected you, hopefully positively. So thank you guys so much for sharing, and don't forget to leave a podcast review for your chance to be featured in next week's episode. But I'm so grateful for that, because seriously, being able to get motivation and validation from you guys is very fulfilling. And again, it just makes it worth my while. This is a pretty small podcast still, so I don't do it for money. I don't do it for, external validation besides like you guys. I literally just truly want the best for you guys, and I like the feeling of knowing that I'm helping at least one person. So if that's true, go ahead and let me know. But without further ado, let's dive into the episode, and I'm going to tell you how we're going to kick seasonal depression's booty this season, okay? Number one key to preventing seasonal depression is to get ahead of it before it even gets here, you guys. We have to be proactive. So right now, it's just the end of September when I'm recording this. It hasn't gotten, at least where I live, too chilly yet. Daylight savings hasn't happened yet. We still have a little bit longer of sunlight. Start implementing your healthy habits now. You need to bring in the reinforcements, and you need to strengthen yourself extra right now so that you have a little bit of wiggle room to fall back, to set back when the seasonal depression starts to kick in, you'll be a little bit stronger around this time. This year around, you are going to be stronger and you are going to have the support and the platform stability. What's the word I'm looking for? The foundation. So the habits and things you learn and implement right now are setting the foundation and the standard on what you are going to be holding yourself upon as the seasonal depression sets in. Okay, you guys? So one, don't expect the seasonal depression to come. Maybe you're just manifesting it with bad juju. So one, don't be like, oh, the seasonal depression's about to set in the second it gets cold, because we don't know that for a fact. This year might be different, but what I'm saying is build yourself up now so that when something comes and tries to knock you down, you get a wind of, discouragement, you get a wind of lack of motivation, laziness, depression, you're a little bit stronger this time because you built the foundation. So how we're going to do this is, number one, you're going to set a strong routine for yourself now. Don't wait until the fall and winter and lazy cold seasons come to start this. Start implementing it now. It takes a little bit to start building habits, truly like making your body have that muscle memory and implementing strong habits. So you need to start now. If you haven't heard of habit stacking, I think that's a great place to start. If you want, read the book Atomic Habits, but essentially habit stacking is implementing a habit by using a habit that you already have instilled within you. For example, if you drink a cup of coffee every single morning and you want to try and drink more water, you're going to tell yourself that you're not allowed to have your cup of coffee until you chug 1 bottle of water. Therefore, you're taking an action that you already do effortlessly and mindlessly every single day, but you're just implementing another habit on top of that. And since you're already doing that initial habit, it's going to be easier to implement a new habit. Does that make sense? So try habit stacking. This could be with making your bed. This could be with going on your phone less and just implementing your healthy routines in general. But I highly suggest, if you struggle with maintaining a morning or night routine, write it out, whether it's on your phone in your notes app. I used to even set calendars when I was younger on my phone in the calendar app of like what specific times I was going to do certain things. Or there's the reminders app, or you could even physically write out on a planner or an agenda or do little like check boxes. It can be super easy and simple, however you like it. But I know a lot of people really do benefit from writing out the routine, at least to begin with, before you have it fully instilled in your body. You can write, okay, well, I'm going to wake up at 9 a.m. very latest. I'm going to get up and I'm going to go walk for 15 minutes. I'm going to eat 30 grams of protein before the first 30 minutes of being awake. I'm going to chug my water, wash my face, brush my teeth, things like that. Having a routine is so beneficial. I, for the longest time, did not have a set routine, and I struggled so much with procrastination. Worst procrastinator, guys, I have ever met. Because even before like the past 6 months, I didn't have a super set morning routine. So on days off, like weekends, I would do nothing. I would stay in my pajamas all day and I wouldn't get up and start getting ready unless I knew I had something to do, which isn't necessarily the case. Like, you don't need an excuse to get up and get ready and start your day. You know what I mean? But I used to think like, oh, no plans, it's a stay in bed day. But now that I have a routine, even if I don't have something I absolutely need to be doing, I still try my best to most days start my day in the right way and following that morning routine. So that way also on days when I do have something to do, it's easier. I don't even have to think twice about it. My body just does it and I just blink and I'm ready for the day, and it's easy and I feel better. Having a morning routine is not just good for your physical health, but it's very good for your mental health as well. And it just makes you feel like you accomplished something throughout the day. And I feel like it does really help in your confidence as well as your productivity levels. And same thing goes for a nighttime routine, right? Like if you are just letting yourself doom scroll through TikTok and you're just dozing off and you're still wearing your dirty clothes from the day and you didn't shower or take off your makeup, which I am guilty of. I literally did that last night and I'm trying to be better, okay? And I'm going to implement those healthy habitual routines for myself as soon as I can so I can get ahead of things. But I'm guilty of just dozing off into bed and, not taking off my makeup, not getting into clean, fresh clothes, whatever. And it's so important to reset at nighttime so you feel new and regenerated the next day and you can start the day off like on a clean slate and put your best foot forward for your morning routine. And when you're setting yourself up for your night routine, that's literally you setting yourself up for either failure or success the following day. So I know it sounds like such a silly, minuscule factor to consider, but it's very, very important and so helpful. Just give it a try at least for a week, right? Even if you think routines are silly, write out a routine. It doesn't have to be any like crazy 20-step routine, like just the last 30 minutes before you go to bed, getting off your phone earlier, journaling, drinking water, taking off your makeup, maybe doing some stretches or meditation, reading your favorite book, listening to frequencies at night. Try little things like that, and I promise it makes all the difference. Because when we are faced with something such as seasonal depression, when the external factors are the reason for our sadness and our mindset, you have to do everything in your power to combat that, to fight that and stay strong within yourself. So if getting off your phone a little earlier is going to make you happier, do it. Do it. And you don't even realize how much your phone impacts your well-being, which we'll get into that further in the episode. But bottom line, start a routine now. Start doing things now that will benefit you as the seasonal depression starts to kick in. Other than a morning and night routine, a wellness routine. So whether that's working out, you don't have to work out, hit the gym every single day, but decide what's realistic for you and set realistic, achievable goals for yourself so that way you feel more accomplished when you do achieve them. Such as maybe it's not realistic for you to hit the gym 5 days a week and go in and lift weights, but maybe you can go on a walk, 3 out of the 7 days of the week and get into the gym 2 or 3 days a week. That's better than nothing. And I'll let that lead me into my next piece of advice. I highly suggest moving your body in some way, shape, or form, and again, getting ahead of these habits before the colder seasons kick in is very, very helpful, because if you have your set habits now, right, of going to the gym, or if the gym's not your thing, it's maybe Pilates or dancing or yoga or jump roping, whatever you enjoy doing, moving your body in some way, if you set those habits now, you are more likely to follow them and keep up with it as the seasons get colder, and there's really no excuse for things like, walking on a treadmill. There's literally that's inside. The weather doesn't affect that. You could do it anytime. Or again, like dancing in your room, stretching every night, doing a quick ab workout on the ground. There are ways to even adjust your workout routine to the colder months. If it's being affected by the weather, there's still at-home workouts. There's still, so many little things that you could do to make sure you're moving your body, because moving your body is going to release endorphins, and that is literally a cheat code hack to at least tricking your brain into feeling a little bit happier, right? When we are sad, our energy levels and our happiness, endorphins, whatever, those are feeling low. I'm not a scientist. I don't know if I'm explaining this well, but it's scientifically proven that when you exercise or move your body in some regard, you are increasing those endorphin levels. So even if you are naturally just feeling sad one day because of the external factors or whatever, maybe it's just you're in your head one day, you can literally force yourself to feel at least 5% better by moving your body. It's scientifically proven. Even on days when I'm in my thought daughter, THOUGHT era, I'm feeling super low, I'm overthinking, I'm in my head, even on those days, I've found that at least if I'm exerting my energy into something that's going to be beneficial to my body and my health, I feel a little bit better. And for that hour that I was working out, I wasn't thinking of the negative things. And say hypothetically, even if you can't get those negative thoughts out of your head, push that into anger. Channel that into your workout. Go punch a punching bag. Beat up a dummy. You know what I mean? And channel those intense, angry, strong feelings into your workout. Just give it a try. I know it sounds silly, and I might sound like a life coach or a fitness coach right now, and I am neither. But I'm telling you, it feels so good to just channel your energy into something more exhilarating, a more intense workout. Or on the opposite side of the spectrum, you can also go on a relaxing walk or do some yoga or meditation and really calm yourself down. Walk off the negativity, walk off the anger, whatever emotions you're feeling. Get outside if you can, or just get inside, or you can channel it through dance. That is such an artistic art form that you can really express yourself in. There's so many different ways to channel your emotions through movement, and I think it's very underrated. Take out the fact that it's good for your body, right? Of course, it's great for your physical health. Of course, you probably will see results in how your body looks and notice that you're looking more toned or defined or whatever your fitness goals are. But all of those things aside, it's a great way to exert your emotions into something productive and also increase your dopamine and serotonin levels while doing so. I feel like it's a little cheat code that people really don't take advantage of. I don't think I even take enough advantage of it. But on days where I'm feeling sad or I'm in my head or I'm frustrated, I just want to start like getting up and going on a walk or, moving my body in some way. And I feel like that's just a cheat code that many people don't take advantage of. Another thing you need to be doing is taking advantage of the daylight. So if you're like me, I know we are going to have daylight savings time soon in California, and it's going to get dark really, really early. Like by the time it's even 5 p.m., it's pitch black outside, which is crazy, especially if you work, you haven't even finished your work day yet, and then you step outside and it looks like it's 10 p.m. That is not fun. And obviously that plays a major role in seasonal depression and how you feel, because obviously the sunlight is so good for us. Vitamin D is an amazing, amazing thing for our circadian rhythm and just our overall happiness that our body feels. And when we're not getting that sunlight, it can feel very disappointing, especially because it feels like there's no time in the day. If you're working a 9 to 5 job and you're getting off at 5 p.m., it feels like you have no time for yourself. So my biggest piece of advice is to take advantage of this daylight. And I know you don't want to hear it, but potentially look into or consider waking up a little earlier so that you could have a day before your work day. And I've said this before, but having your own time to yourself before you go off to work or school, whatever may be that you have during the day, having time for yourself and a good moment to yourself is so, so important in maintaining a healthy relationship and balance within your life. So this can be waking up early, or this can be, again, taking time for yourself after work, but it's going to be a little more dark, so you have to take that into consideration. So I highly suggest, if you can, wake up even an hour earlier and go make your breakfast and journal outside if you can, and just, maybe go on a walk or get your workout in the morning to boost your dopamine levels for the day. Things like that are very, very helpful, and I highly suggest it. I know not everyone wants to hear like wake up at 5 a.m. and grind for 4 hours before you go to work. I know that's not realistic for everybody, but even just waking up 30 minutes or an hour earlier so that you can get a glimpse of the daylight and just kind of bask in it is very, very beneficial. Again, if you have school or work throughout the day, if you have a lunch break or any kind of break, I highly recommend taking the scenic route or doing your homework outside, taking your break outside, eating your lunch by the window, little things like that. Again, during these winter and fall seasons, you need to soak up as much of the daylight as you can get. Again, because it does get dark so early, it's very, very crucial that we're getting the sunlight that we need. Your circadian rhythm and the balance and overall flow of your body's clock needs daylight. So seeing the sun first thing in the morning, opening your window right when you wake up, that will help. The little things. I feel like that's the overall message and takeaway from this video is the little things do truly build up to protect and build you up to be a little more invincible when the seasonal depression comes and hits in. And when you have a day off, and if the weather's nice, take advantage of the daylight, you guys. Like, go outside when you can, get all of your content in. If you're a content creator and you want to get your pictures, like, it's nice out and you have the sunlight, like, really take advantage of it, because there's not a lot of it. I'm not gonna lie. There's not enough sunlight for us during these seasons. So every second and opportunity that you get to really get outside and take advantage of that is so important. And then on the other end, when it is dark early, when it's nighttime vibes, set the mood. Set the mood for yourself and try to find a way to romanticize the nighttime. Do things like, movie night or a spa themed night for yourself, self-care. You can romanticize the nighttime either with other people or by yourself, but there's still things to do when it's nighttime. And I feel like after summer and when the fall sets in, we kind of place ourselves in this victim mindset, like, oh, summer's over, there's nothing to do, I'll never be happy ever again, which is not true. Sure, you might not be able to stay at the beach until 8 p.m. and have it still be, light out, but you can still do plenty of things at night There's so many nighttime activities, going to the movie theaters, going bowling, having some sort of dinner party with your friends, pizza making night, drive-in movies, so fun. There's so many things to do at night. If you guys need inspiration for things to do, my recent video that I did on how to have a hot girl autumn is so helpful in finding fun things to do during the season that you don't need it to be, 80 degrees out in order to participate in. But again, just setting the mood for nighttime, and instead of being like so pushed away by the darkness and the nighttime vibes, use it as the opportunity to embrace it and set the mood for yourself. So again, maybe make a warm hot tea or hot cocoa, whatever your drink of choice is. Drink that before bed. Set some candles, really play with the ambiance and try and take advantage of the nighttime relaxation time and learn to appreciate it instead of neglect it and despise it. And same thing goes for the fall and winter seasons, right? Like I know so many of us, we love spring and we love summer, and who doesn't love, getting the beach and vacation and time off of school. But guys, you have to learn how to appreciate it. The seasons are just part of the many gifts that God gave us, and we should embrace them instead of pushing them away. And I think that a lot of that comes from us being like, oh, like I want it to be summer, and just kind of always wanting what you can't have. Because I feel like when it's summertime, I'm like, oh, like I want it to be Christmas and I want it to be fall and whatever, and I want those vibes. And then when it actually rolls around, I'm like, no, I take that back. I miss summer. But learn to find ways to appreciate and embrace the season that we are in while we're in it. Like I was saying at the beginning of this episode, life and the year goes by so quickly these days. And that's why it's crucial to really be present in the moment. Live in the moment and appreciate and show gratitude for the moment that you are currently in. Not where you were 6 months ago or last season. Like appreciate where you are now, because you're not going to get this time back. So finding, I guess, the silver lining of the seasons is very helpful in trying to kind of change your perspective a little bit and alter your mindset to appreciate the seasons instead of just thinking of it as a super down in the dumps time. I know it might not help the way you're feeling, but your perspective is truly so powerful. So if you learn to appreciate and look forward to even the time and season that we're in, it really does help with the seasonal depression at least a little bit. So like I said, I have an entire episode on how to romanticize fall. And if you guys want one for the winter season coming up, I can definitely do that. But there's so many little things, watching movies and shows to get you in the spirit, decorating, creating mood boards, creating a playlist that matches the vibes of the season. There's so many things that you can do to actually romanticize the season instead of just not enjoy it. One of the biggest pieces of advice I have for fighting seasonal depression is to fill your calendar with things to look forward to. I feel like a huge factor that plays into seasonal depression is the feeling that nothing is going on and summer feels so far away, and maybe there's less activities to do and social outings, when really like you are in control of your own plans and your own calendar. Fill that up. If you really struggle with like having things to look forward to, I highly suggest getting a physical calendar and keeping it in your room or maybe as your lock screen, or if it's a mini one, just like always keep it with you. Put it somewhere where you're going to see it often so you could see all the dates that you have to look forward to, and put all of your friends and family's birthdays, put the tiniest, most minuscule, irrelevant events and holidays on there just so you have something to look forward to. And then when those days roll around, get excited for it. Like I feel like one of the reasons why I never really find myself like that bored is because I feel like there's always something to look forward to. And I know a lot of people, they get really sad after a big trip or after summertime because it's kind of like that post-trip or post-vacation depression setting in because you just had, a super fun week or month or whatever, and now it's over. And it's like, okay, great. I was looking forward to that for months, and now what? You know what I mean? Perfect. It's okay. You can just set a new thing to look forward to. If it's not realistic for you to schedule something to look forward to, right now, maybe you're super busy, maybe it's expensive, maybe the times aren't aligning with a group to coordinate something, plan something far in advance. Plan something for spring break or summer break, and still look forward to it. It's not too early to start planning. It is never too early. So plan that trip, start, planning your outfits, looking at inspo boards, and really transport yourself somewhere else in your mind if that's what you need to do, and place yourself in that mindset as if the trip's right around the corner, because it basically is. The year is going to go by so fast. So setting something to look forward to, even if it is super far in the future, it's very beneficial, and I don't think it's too early. It's never too early. But then again, there's even little things that you could do right now. Plan them by yourself, plan them with friends, plan them with family, and just put it on the calendar to look forward to. A little dinner party. You never need an excuse to throw a dinner party, okay? You can do it literally for anything. Being in your hostess era, planning a little Pinteresty dinner is so cute. You could do Friendsgiving, Christmas, Secret Santa if you celebrate that. Any little outing I think is so fun, and you can start planning it now. I love personally looking forward to Christmas when it's still months away, and I love planning what gifts I'm going to get everyone in my life, and I'm going to start looking now, and I'm going to type it out in my notes what I want to get everybody, or start planning your Halloween costume early, what you want to get for Black Friday. I really don't think it's too early for anything. If anything, you're just getting prepared early and you're ahead of everybody else. Setting things to look forward to is so helpful, because again, when you feel like there's nothing coming up for you, it can get very discouraging, and you do get very down, and it feels like there's nothing happening in your life. But it's all about perspective again. And even if there's, there's only 13 or 14 Fridays left until Christmas. How crazy is that? And when you put it in that perspective, I'm automatically excited for the holidays now, and I'm going to start getting in the spirit. You know what I mean? There's always something to look forward to. You just have to change your perspective. So fill your calendar. If you need to do, even schedule a car hangout with your friends once a week, do that. Having scheduled things to look forward to, and just certain plans that are happening instead of sitting at home in your room bored all day, is very beneficial. So if you can, hang out with your friends a ton. I feel like being social really does help with seasonal depression. You're not stuck at home in your room alone. You're actually out doing things or getting active or seeing other people, and you can talk about how you're feeling, and you can kind of share what you're feeling with other people, or share fun ideas, and just talk about literally anything. Hanging out with your friends like normal. If you can't do that, try calling people more often, FaceTiming people. A huge message that I want to get across for when you're dealing with, the feelings that you're feeling, is to not be afraid to ask for help. I feel like when we get in a state of any kind of depression, especially seasonal in this case, we don't want to ask for help, and it's something that we bottle in and we keep to ourselves, when it's so normal to feel what you're feeling. Again, especially in the specific case of seasonal depression, so many people are right there with you, feeling that exact same feeling. So don't be afraid to talk about it. Do a little support group with your friends and just get together one night, maybe make snacks and just rant. And there's nothing wrong with that. Do a group call with your friends, FaceTime someone you haven't talked to in a long time, a family member. Talk about it. I think that's a huge thing, is getting comfortable talking about it. And I know that might not be something that everybody is ready for right now, but the more that you learn to talk about your feelings and be open with the people who care about you, the healthier and stronger your relationships with other people and yourself will grow. Again, if you're not comfortable with this, there is always therapy, and I am actually looking into therapists right now. Again, being proactive before the seasonal depression sets in. I'm going to have my reinforcements, and I'm going to have my therapist, hopefully. I know that's not accessible for everybody, but if it is, I highly suggest it's something to look into. Definitely. I've never had a therapist before, but I'm going to give it a try, and hopefully I'll find one soon. It's kind of hard to find a therapist, but looking into it now, so hopefully I will have one when I need them the most. I think there's nothing wrong with having a therapist. I think that it should be super normalized, and that everyone should try it sometime in their life, and that everyone can benefit from therapy in some regard. Again, you can have a Zoom therapist. I know you don't even have to go in person. And then if not, just watch videos and learn. Obviously, don't self-diagnose yourself, but I love learning about the brain and different mindsets or concepts or techniques that I could use. If it has to do with anxious thoughts or overthinking, I love turning on a good podcast or reading a book or something that does help me kind of understand that a little bit more. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going insane. I'm not spiraling. I'm just experiencing XYZ. So it's also very helpful to learn about the feelings that you're feeling and take note of them, again, instead of bottling them up. And I think automatically during the fall and winter seasons, people do become a little more isolated, which is fine and normal. I feel like when I think summer and spring, it's super social, but just because summer and spring is over doesn't mean you can't be social anymore. But if you're not going to be social anymore and you do find yourself spending a little more time alone, that is perfectly okay, and that actually might be better for you. Alone time is so valuable and so often overlooked. I feel like, especially when we're struggling with depression or overthinking, whatever it may be, we try and fill the void by distracting ourselves with social outings or events or other people, when really the answer is within you. And you really do need to dig deep within yourself and heal on your own in order to fully heal. So I want you guys to learn to really treat yourself like someone you love. I feel like that's the best way I can put it. When you are spending time alone with yourself, think of it as like you're on a date with yourself. And how are you going to impress yourself and treat yourself well with love and care? Treat yourself like a friend or family member that you love. I think that is such a helpful perspective that I've started to gain, where I just like treat myself like a person instead of treating myself like myself, if that makes sense. If you're anything like me, you often put other people's needs and opinions before your own, when really like you are the only person who will be there for you no matter what, 24/7 for the rest of your life. You are the only person who matches that description. So I don't know why, we go trying to people please everywhere else and distract ourselves with other people and other situations, when really you should be nurturing and caring for you. So there's a lot of different ways you can do this. A huge one I have is, one, talk to yourself. Talk to yourself. You're not crazy. Talk to yourself and talk yourself through things logically. I appeal a lot to emotion, obviously. I think as women especially, we are just very intuitive and emotional creatures, which is such a blessing. Do not get me wrong, but sometimes it's very easy for me, personally speaking, to let my emotions get ahead of myself. And sometimes if I'm feeling the way I'm feeling and I'm just picking up on my body's signals, I don't have a logical bone in my body. Like my body feels sad, especially like when there's hormones involved too. Like my body feels sad, I'm sad, and it might not be logical. I might not even know why, but I'm letting myself be sad, and that's that. That's the answer. And this might sound silly, but sometimes if you try to just rationalize with yourself and talk yourself through it, it can actually be very helpful and eye-opening. Like, be your own therapist sometimes. I think it's great to have an ear to listen to and to get advice from other people, but if you don't have access to that in the moment, there is nothing wrong with just reflecting with your own thoughts and kind of bouncing your own thoughts back with yourself. For example, like if I'm overthinking and I'm talking myself through something, sometimes I might dig deep enough and just find the solution or the root of the issue on my own. Also, journaling is so helpful. Even when you don't feel like journaling, just do like at least 5 minutes. There's also, if you're not comfortable with journaling yet, if you don't really know how to dive deep into your thoughts and you just kind of stare at the paper and you're like, what am I supposed to write? My brain feels empty right now. There's a lot of journal prompts. You don't even have to buy a specifically prompted journal, which the 5-minute journal I do think is great if you're a beginner journaler or something like that with prompts in the journal. But if you don't want to spend money on an extra, prompted journal, you can get journal prompts literally from TikTok or Pinterest. Just look up journal prompts. And if there's something specific, for anxiety or overthinking, things like that, it will give you journal prompts for free, and just prompt it and, write down your answer and what you're feeling and respond to it. And it can be very helpful. You guys know I will suggest journaling to anything and everyone. I will suggest it to like an ant on the sidewalk. Everyone and everything should journal. Again, I think it just really takes it to the next level of diving deep and reflecting into your thoughts and just being able to put your thoughts out onto paper. One, that's a really strong skill, and it helps in your communication skills and being able to recognize why you're feeling what you're feeling and how to healthily express that. And then also, it's really beneficial to just reflect on your own. And sometimes if you write long enough, you'll be like, wait, this is actually silly. Why am I upset over this? This is so simple and the answer's right here. So it does kind of help me rationalize my thinking and get a little more logical when my emotions are spiraling out of control. I know I mentioned earlier creating a playlist for the fall time is a super fun way to romanticize the fall, but I want to make clear, you guys, what media you consume directly affects your mood and your mental health. So if you are one of my girls who love the sad girl music, you might need to at least limit it. I'm not saying turn it off completely, but I know when we're in our sad, depressive episodes, it's really easy to just like want to feel sad and feed into that energy and almost let the negative energy win, right? You want to cry. You want to feel bad for yourself. You want to look in the mirror and see your tears and take pictures of yourself sobbing, crying while you have a sad song playing in the background. And it's healthy to let that out sometimes. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like put on a brave face and just completely ignore your emotions and shove them under the rug. I'm not saying that. I think expression of our emotions is very healthy and very necessary. But if you were like feeling fine for a second and then you turn your sad music back on and you're just crying and you're kind of forcing yourself to be sad, that's not going to help you at all. I hate to break it to you. So, the media we consume directly affects our mood and our well-being and our mental health. So what I mean by that is maybe consider creating a more upbeat playlist, for example, or listening to a high vibrational frequency or a motivational podcast like Hot and Unbothered, just something that is going to subconsciously feed your brain positivity instead of negativity all the time. Again, I'm not saying you can never listen to your sad music, but be mindful when you are kind of on a slippery slope. Maybe you're a little bit on the fence of having a good day and a bad day. Maybe choose the positive option, and that goes for everything. That goes for what you're going to watch. Are you going to watch a sad show or a happy show? Are you going to, listen to a healthy, positive podcast or a brain rot TikTok? And now I'll let that bring me into the brain rot and the doom scrolling. I know you don't want to hear this right now. You have to try your very, very best during these seasons to resist or at least limit your intake of doom scrolling and brain rot and all that stuff, because it's not going to help you. It's not going to be your friend. At least if you're doom scrolling during the summertime, like you've got the sun on your back, vibes are good, birds are chirping, but it's not going to help you during the seasonal depression when you're already depressed and now you're staying in bed all day just consuming media that is definitely not beneficial to you whatsoever. Of course, I love to indulge in a funny video or Instagram reel now and then. Don't blame you for that. But I highly suggest at least setting your screen time to a healthy-ish limit. Since I need social media, I need to post on it. I don't need to, but I like to post things. If you're doing content, like that's one thing. I set my screen time for 3 hours on social media max. And I hate to even reach that because 3 hours even is a lot. But I've seen my screen time be at like 12 hours or 8 hours in these crazy things. I'm like, I feel horrible about myself after that. Nothing says a wasted day louder than 12 hours of time on social media. That is just absurd and unheard of. And if you told an Amish child that we are spending that much time staring at like a funny video on our screen, it would send them into a coma. But being on your phone for long amounts of time is just something that our society has completely normalized because, of course, it benefits, creators and it benefits TikTok itself. But you yourself, if you're not intaking media that's either helping you grow, inspiring you, teaching you something that you didn't know before, or like, I don't know, making you happy or smile, you're wasting your time and there's so many better things you can be doing. I'm not even saying don't watch anything on your phone, but like I've been trying to opt more for like a YouTube video or a podcast opposed to just scrolling through TikTok and watching little 15-second brainless videos that aren't going to benefit me or teach me anything whatsoever. So I'm not saying I don't intake any media at all. That would be an absurd statement for me to make. But I am trying to be a little bit more mindful and I'm not perfect. I'm still getting better. Again, I still watch funny TikToks and stuff, but I try not to make it the only thing that I do because social media is such a dangerous rabbit hole. Like it is like a black hole. And if you watch even like 15 minutes of TikToks, next thing you know, 3 hours have passed and your screen time's going up and you don't even care and you press ignore on the screen time. So if you're going to set the screen time, I highly recommend being firm on it and standing on business with that one with yourself because it's so easy and I'm guilty to just press like ignore and keep scrolling. So try to actually make it mean something to you. Set alarms for when you want to put your phone down for the night and not be on it past a certain time. I also highly suggest just doing an overall social media cleanse. You could do a social media detox and and take a break from your phone. If you find yourself at a super low point, I think that might help. And just, be off social media for at least 24 hours or 3 days and really focus on finding yourself and journaling. Get a coloring book, get outside. This season is a great opportunity to pick up a hobby. When else do you have time to pick up hobbies? I feel like summer is so social and everyone's so busy with plans. But if you can learn how to play an instrument, imagine like a cold, gloomy, rainy day, you have nothing to do. Not true. Pick up an instrument, watch, a tutorial on how to bake something, try something new. There's so many different things that you can do. And having a hobby is so fulfilling for you personally, but it's also such an attractive quality. And I love just finding out that someone has a super cool, interesting hobby that you would have never guessed they had. And also as part of your social media detox, you can go through and unfollow just content or anything that is no longer serving you, or even hide specific accounts or content or block celebrities. I don't know, whatever is giving you bad vibes. I feel like we also fall into the trap of comparison, which is not good. So trying to practice not comparing yourself to other people, not stalking other people and wishing your life was like theirs, because remember that social media is only the smallest sliver and glimpse into someone's life, and that it's easy to edit and portray someone or something under a certain romanticized light. It's not healthy for us to compare ourselves to that, although it is very easy to fall into that trap. So just focus on you instead of comparing yourself to others. And then again, try and remove content or any kind of media that isn't serving your highest interest or teaching you anything of value. Overall, I just really want you guys to focus this season on self-love and practicing feeding your own soul and filling your own bucket, if that makes sense. Imagine that you have a bucket and it's filled with substance of your joy and your soul and your happiness. Do things that fill that up instead of drain it. So social media, that's a happiness drainer. That is seriously straight out the drain for a lot of people. And this I wouldn't consider necessarily social media because it's inspiring you and hopefully teaching you something. But if you're comparing yourself on Instagram to a bunch of bikini models, that might not feel great. Or maybe it's getting super blackout drunk and partying and all your friends are doing that and they're trying to pressure you to do that too. I would consider that an energy drainer. Try and incorporate more energy fillers into your life. So I want you guys to write down what things fuel you. What things make you happy? For me, when I think of that, I think it's obviously people I love, my friends and my boyfriend. And I think journaling is super helpful. Helping others is a huge one for me. Just being able to be here and talk and hopefully motivate you guys or teach you something. This is a huge energy filler for me. I love fashion and I love music and I love my bunny. I love the color pink. It could be the tiniest little things down to your favorite food. I love pasta. Incorporate more of those things that you love. Make a list of things you love, and anytime that you're feeling low or down, turn to that list and do something from that list. Incorporate something from that list and remind yourself just who you are. I feel like it's really easy to forget when you're feeling down and kind of in some sort of slump or mental rut. It's really easy to forget who you are. So I want you guys to look in the mirror and say some positive affirmations. And you're going to roll your eyes right now. I know some of you are going to be like, of course, just saying positive affirmations. I sound like my dad. When I was little, he would play positive affirmations for me on a little CD boombox player. But I think it helped because here I am before you telling you to do your positive affirmations. So you can find these on Pinterest. You could find these, by yourself, but I want you to either write out things that you love about yourself, practice gratitude every single day, practice gratitude for the littlest things. Be grateful for the leaves on the ground because the leaves are so fun. You know what I mean? Romanticize even the things about seasons you may not necessarily love. Show gratitude for things that maybe you don't have yet. Maybe I'm going to say I'm so grateful for 50,000 subscribers to my podcast on YouTube. I don't even have that yet, but I'm grateful because I am hopeful that one day I will have that. So even finding things to look forward to that are in the further future when it comes to your career or your success, your lifestyle, create a vision board and just get excited for the person who you are bound to become and own that and picture the highest version of yourself and show up as them every single day and get excited for the life that is guaranteed to one day be yours. And again, talk to yourself as if you are someone you love. Look in the mirror, and anytime you say something or think something negative about yourself, I want you to combat that with 3 things that you actually love about yourself. Maybe you love your dimples or your eyes or your hair, your smile, whatever. Be happy in the skin that you are in, and talk to yourself like someone you love. And also talk to yourself like your younger self. I saw this hack where you put a little picture of your younger self as a little kid in your mirror. So that way, when you're looking in the mirror and you're maybe judging something about yourself or talking negatively towards yourself, that's who you're talking to. You're not talking to the girl in the mirror. You're talking to the little picture of your little self because you are still that girl. And you need to be healing that inner child, and you need to be nurturing her and treating her with so much love and care and affection because that's you. And I think that's a really underrated part of self-love is that you deep down are still just a little baby who deserves all the love in the world, and like no one should say mean and bad things about her, especially you. Building your self-love, I think, is going to be one of the overall biggest saving graces of fighting and combating seasonal depression. Because if you know who you are and you create a strong relationship with yourself, it's more difficult for external factors to come in and sway you. And if you really are so certain and deeply rooted in your self-concept, and I have a separate episode about this, if you're confident in who you are, nothing can sway you. Nothing's going to shake your ground because you're so certain of who you are, and you developed that foundation. We're going full circle here. You developed that foundation for yourself that you're standing upon and that you built yourself upon, where it's so strong that you know who you are and you know what your values are at the core, and you know you're not a negative person. You know that you are meant to be happy and you're destined for greatness, and nothing is going to get in the way of that. I'm going to wrap this episode up, you guys, right here because I could go on forever, honestly. I want you guys to remember, if you're struggling this season, don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to reach out to myself or others. We are just one big community here, and we are rooting each other on. Don't forget, you guys, I have the link in the description to shop my sustainable clothing line. It's all handmade and designed by myself, and it's handmade in Brooklyn, New York, made to order also because we don't mess with fast fashion around here. It is built in shorts. It's super cute, and it's a really good gift if you're looking forward to gifts to get someone for the special holiday season coming up and you want something to look forward to there. Don't forget to follow me on my socials at Brianna Gomez with 2 B's. Subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify, and leave a review for the chance to be featured on next week's episode. I love you guys so much, and I will see you next Bri-day. Bye. Mwah.